Okay guys, in this tutorial we're just gonna carry on with where we left off with the last one. We're just gonna orient the joints for our character. It's gonna be a little bit of a back and forth, but usually it is like that. It's never like perfect. So bear with me and I hope you can learn something. So select the Kyra key and then I use my Comet tool. So I have it here. I really like that tool for orienting. It's really nice. It's free, download it from the author's website. Uh, Basically, I do X, Y, Y. That's what I was taught to do, and it just works. So first thing I can do is just orient the whole thing. Um, and then, actually, sorry, I don't want to orient the whole thing because this was copied from Unreal. So Unreal has this weird orientation where some things are facing X up and some things are facing X down. So yeah, that's a little bit tricky now. Okay, let's just go start with the easy things. Orient this one first. So how it works, it always aims at the first child. So in this case, if I wanted to aim at the spine, I need to rearrange it with middle drag, and then the spine will aim like that. And I can keep on orienting. Now, if something got reversed there, I can just tweak it 180 around x-axis. There you go. And then I want to aim at the next joint here, which is my neck. So I need to reverse that and then orient that. And then it got reversed again, so tweak it. And then here, and that one looks like it's pointing up. I can just do that. So this tool is nice because it orients the last joints too. Then I have this, and I would rather have it aim at the arm with Z pointing back as it was. So that's looking cool. Then here, yeah, so this is all interesting, but the way this works, it sounds like this leg is kind of reversed, like it's going backwards. So what I can do here, if I want to make it easy for myself, I can just select this whole leg and just orient it with X, Y, Y, with Z aiming sideways. I would say Z would have to aim outwards in this case. Um, so I'm just going to flip it like this. So all of the Z is aiming outwards. Now this is kind of unfortunately not perfectly aligned because of our plane here. So I'm just gonna eyeball it. I'm just gonna basically just go align it like this. And then this one's gonna take the same orientation as the parent. With this one, I'm also just gonna kinda eyeball it so it's aligned. And then here, orient joints. Orient joints, maybe tweak it 180 like that. If I want to just subtract some orientation, I can. But I think I'll be okay with that. So that's how I have it done now. And now, as we saw in Unreal, if we want to follow their convention, we need to invert it. So in this case, I would just basically flip it. If you want this X to point up instead of point down, like what they did there, I would say just flip it 180 in Z. And then, but you need to select the whole leg. And then you're going to have it flipped like that. And now this is kind of what they had in mind. Actually, it's not. Sorry, I lied. I guess we'll need to flip it in Y. Try that. So yeah, basically X is pointing up now. It's like what they had there originally. So that's looking more like it's an Unreal convention now, and this arm is following the normal convention where X is pointing at the next one. So let's try that. X, Y, Y. Just gonna orient this. Uh, let's press this. So the thing is, the way they had it, it was kind of that the Y was pointing back and the Z was pointing sideways. There's also a twister joint here. So let's start with that arm, upper arm. And if you go to object mode, you actually see the rotation. So Y has to point back, Z has to point sideways. So let's do that. And now you see that the Y is not pointing back, so I'm just going to tweak it 90 degrees. Now it's perfect. Now this guy is going to get the same orientation as the parent, and I can move him along the joint to kind of place it more in the middle because it's a twister. Then I have this, and that one we have Y pointing back, Z sideways as well, orient, tweak. So yeah, this is a little bit ambiguous because it's not exactly aligned with the plane, so we have to kind of manually tweak it a little bit, and you can just use the 5 if you want to kind of get it better. And then this one, you can also orient if you zero out the translate Y and Z, you're gonna only get 1, so here you can just move it along. Now this one's looking perfect. It's oriented. Z back, Y down. Yeah, so that's where we're gonna have some problems because it's aiming at the first child again. So the first child that we want to aim at is this index. So for now, maybe move the index above, and now, actually middle, move the index above. And now when you orient, it's just going to aim at that index. But you want to make sure that your Z is aiming back. So 90 degrees. And then the Z is aiming back. Maybe you can tweak it a little bit to be more sideways to the hand. Because right now it's not really aiming back, so we need to tweak it like that. There you go. So that's better. Now for all those fingers there, they should be following the parent orientations, and they are not bad. If you want to tweak them a little bit, I'll just select the whole thing, and you can just do rotational tweaks on the whole thing manually, where you can control how they bend. But you want the Z sideways, and then on this one, this is pretty bad. So this one, I would say I also want all the Z sideways, and this is not exactly sideways. So what I would do, I'll just tweak it a little bit like that. And then that one maybe a little more. Because the reason I'm doing this is so that my fingers are bending correctly. So if I select the hierarchy and go to object rotation, I want them to bend in. You know what I mean? Same here, if I select the hierarchy, I want it to bend nicely in without twisting. So that's looking promising. Okay, I think this is good enough for this. I think we're ready to mirror this guy now. So all I'm going to do here is select his actually the first asymmetrical joint here, and then I'm going to go skeleton mirror joints. And so this is going to be a little bit tricky because the naming convention on Unreal is not great. So search for L underscore with R, mirror across YZ, and we want to mirror behavior because that will invert our leg. And this is something that Unreal does, that they have this leg pointing up in X, this leg pointing down in X. Now with this, we can do the same thing. We can just press G now, and that will invert it differently. So here we go. Here's our character with the skeleton ready to go. We might want to create some joints for that tail here. maybe some joints for the ears, and then we can start rigging the guy. But I'm gonna end this here because this is already super long. So I'm sorry if it was a little bit convoluted. I'll see you guys in the next one.